This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
We are back with Stella Crispo. Excited she's here. She's a healer. She's a psychic. The name of the company is Heart of God Healing, and we are grateful you are in our presence today. How are you?
Hi, Jill. I'm fine.
Oh,
It's an
my
honor.
goodness.
Thank you so much for letting me be here.
Well, I'm excited that you're here, and we're both in each other's energy space. And we had some technical difficulties before the show, which was odd, but could it be the spirits? Could it be something out there? I mean, we're going to talk to you about you being an empath and intuitive, and of course, all the work you're doing to help people, with pranic energy. So first and foremost, thank you for being here. Would you mind just introducing yourself
Thank
to
you.
everyone to start?
Sure. My name is Stella Crispo. The name of my company is Heart of God Healing. I'm a pranic healer, tarot reader, psychic reader, and mediumship. We're getting there. That's like the next step.
Ooh, well, tell me a little bit of your background and where you grew up. And I want to know, I read that you were always intuitive, always fascinated by psychics and mediums. So how did you, give us a little bit of your backstory, please.
Sure. Oh, I'd love to. So it's interesting because I've always been intuitive. I just never made much of it. And I'm actually a Christian. So, being a Christian, being a Catholic, I even have a cousin who's a mother superior in Rome. So I remember having this conversation with her about psychics and tarot. And of course, it was totally taboo. So I've actually been a musician my whole life. And it was only in 2017 that I started with pranic healing. And then as my energy got stronger, and I can expand on that if you want, but as my energy got stronger, we were healing during COVID, we were healing people, galore and internationally. So all of a sudden, you're actually just healing energy. You don't know the person, you don't know what they look like, all of that. And as that developed, then I actually had a psychic reading done like in 2020. And it's interesting, that person said to me, and I was only healing at that point. He's like,
Okay.
no, you're gonna be doing what I'm doing, which is tarot and astrology and mediumship. And even now, I cannot, I'm not going to advertise being a medium, but I do, I was reading for people last night, and people do appear. And if they want to connect with people, I do connect. I just not, I know people who are monster mediums, so I can't put myself in that category yet. But so basically, he said that I will be eventually. This is my new path. Basically, I've been a musician my whole life. But it is interesting, Jill. I want to tell you a story. I do remember when I was 12, I don't remember if it was a vision or a dream, and I had this vision of a man, with 2 suitcases leaving. And then now I'm going to cry. When I cry, it's besides the obvious. When I cry during readings, I know it's the truth. That's my go-to. That's spirit talking to me. And so this person had 2 suitcases and then came back. So I remember asking my mom when I was 12, did my father, I'm Italian, so did Papa ever leave and come back? She's like, no, never. Well, 4 years later, my dad left and came back for a month to try again, and then eventually left.
Oh,
so I had a lot of that. I remember dating my first serious boyfriend. I was like 20, and he was a salesman, and I saw his secretary. And besides the obvious, the cliche of the secretary, I just knew that one day they'd get married, and they are.
Wow.
So it's a lot of that. But I remember, talking to everyone's a Christian, everyone's Catholic in my family, all of that. Although my dad actually started veering into the esoteric, so he went into the esoteric when I was still, not. Mm-hmm. So, wait, I had to tell you something else. Oh, okay. So now fast forward, my dad passed away in 2015, and he was actually young and remarried at this point. So 2017, his wife sends me a box of his things, and I'm getting goosebumps right on top of the box. So again, at this point, I knew about Reiki, but I wasn't doing anything. I was just Catholic, Sends me this book, Born to Heal by Ruth Montgomery. One of those small little books, brown pages. I gobbled it up in a minute. And I asked her, I remember asking her, I'm like, Pam is her name. I was like, why did you send this to me? I know, you see, you're smiling, you know where this is going. And she said, I don't know. She said, I don't know. So right away I took it as a sign. I Googled, and I just looked for healing centers near me. And the Center of Pranic Healing is actually only like 7 miles from me. And that was it. I started healing. And then at that time I was actually, I was in a serious relationship, but every September, my boyfriend would go to Italy to see his family, and I wouldn't go because I had my son and work, blah, blah, blah. So that was another thing. This was like the summer of 2017, and bam, he's going to Italy in September. So that's when I start my classes,
Wow.
And it was just, everything happens for a reason, right?
It's
even
so
breakups,
true.
even anything leads you to this moment. So, I mean, I just basically started healing a lot. Then once COVID came, we were actually healing in groups.
Tell me about COVID. I was reading that in your notes. What happened? Well, for so much happened, but for you personally.
Right. No, that's okay. So during COVID, we were all actually, whoever was studying at that time, we were all working toward our certification. Part of your certification is to heal people. So we're, healing in person. And now all of a sudden we had this opportunity, mutual, beneficial. We could help people, and we're working toward our certification. So now the powers that be at the center would just send us lists of people and their conditions. And we're talking about people in India, people in Brazil. We didn't know them, who was, old, who was young. And now we're all staying home at this point as well. So I wasn't even gigging. It was nothing. I was still a musician. I still am. But, and so we just started healing, and then we would heal in groups. So I remember, like, there was this one woman, poor thing. I mean, had COVID, cancer, diabetes. So in groups, who would work on her for cancer, who would work on her for this, and we were and this, it really empowered us. And I know personally for me, it just, all of a sudden, if you tell me now your toe hurts, for example, I mean, I can heal you right now. I heal while I'm driving, especially for simple things like that.
Okay.
So basically with COVID, we just started healing a lot, and my, everyone, I don't know what everyone else is doing. We were just healing in groups. So now I'm pursuing this. I feel my energy is getting stronger. Sometimes I was healing people. There was a friend of mine who was a drug addict, and just the minute we had a conversation about him saying, yes, Stella, I want you to do this, the next day he already felt better, and I hadn't done anything. So that's also the power of, you need that mutual energy, right? You need to want to be healed. And that's another thing. It's like we cannot heal without your consent, or at least someone's consent.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So basically just that, I just felt my energy, like I can feel yes, I can feel no. And then I had this reading done. So then I started studying tarot. And it's interesting because, again, we're talking, I'm a Christian here. So first I have my Christian friends say, oh my gosh, how can you heal? So of course I'm a Pisces moon. So first thing I do is like blame myself. Oh my gosh, should I be doing this? Then I'm like, wait, Jesus sent people out to heal. He sent his disciples out to heal. And it's regardless of your beliefs. Oh, this is what I need to say. And I talk really fast. We are all spiritual beings, and despite what people believe, and I wish I can tell this to teenagers, especially people who are depressed and anxious. And this is notwithstanding people who are clinically depressed and it runs in the family. I'm just generalizing. But, I think a lot of people feel they're alone, and they're not. I talk to my dad all the time. The other day I asked him for a favor and I got it. It's like, it's amazing. I tell my son too, I'm a girl. So it's like, listen, if there's anything you never want to talk to me about, God will listen. Nonna will listen, So as I began healing, and then I justified to myself that I'm allowed to heal. Jesus, we all have it. We all have it, we all have intuition. If you want to listen to it, there are times I can just be typing something and something will say, Stella, go check whatever. Paragraph 2, and I'll go and I'll catch something. And then there are times I'm like, no, I'm tired. Can I please just hit send? And I hit send, and guess what? I go back and I found a mistake, right? Like when we don't listen to our intuition. So it's like the more we connect, and I think it's just so important for people to understand that they're not alone. And I think, so now even jumping to tarot, I love doing tarot. I love my cards, but it's not the cards that are talking.
It's the
It's
energy.
just,
It's the
it's the
people. It's the,
energy.
yes.
Right. So even that, I'm not, should you be doing tarot? Should I, as long as I don't believe I am God and the cards are talking and I'm just connecting, it's the same thing when you think of someone and all of a sudden you hear a song on the radio. It's the same for me. It's the same thing, right?
Exactly. It happens all the time. Those
All the time.
coincidences. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. So I do love reading tarot. And I think now from that, the mediumship has come in. I see people. I did take some mediumship classes as well. And then I had, when you see mediums, you go to a hall or a restaurant and they just pick on whoever. Right. So I went to see, and Rita Gigante is really powerful. I don't know if you know her.
No,
her
I
dad,
never heard of her.
Yeah, she's pretty prominent, and she has a huge backstory.
Okay.
Her father was, what was his first name? Vincent Gigante, the mobster.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and he was huge, and this is how she became a medium, because he connected with her.
Wow.
After he passed. So I had gone to one of her events, and she picked on me. She said, "There's a singer here." So I'm sure I wasn't the only singer, but I put my hand up and she came over and she said, "Oh, then I was told this too, that in a past life, I was a gypsy, crystal ball, and all of that." Oh. So then she also told me that I would, this is my path. This is my and so I get really excited and I talk really fast, and I do, and I know this is what I'm meant to do, to help. And I know even like last night, I did readings at a venue, and that is my goal, is to help. It's not to give you negative news. Sometimes it's just confirmation of what you already know, but you needed to hear it from someone, and the combination of that with healing, the combination of that with astrology. I always ask people what their sign is. Sometimes I guess it, sometimes I don't. Sometimes there are people who tell me what their sign is. I'm like, no, you've got something else in your chart. And in fact, they do. But a lot, that helps me also. That helps me to help you heal. Like if you're a fire sign, usually you're fiery. If you're a water sign like me, you're emotional. So I use all of it. I want to always promote my healing, Jill. I have to tell you the truth. Something always stops me because my healings are free. Okay. And it's weird. When I was charging, even though I never turn people away. When I was charging, and we are taught to charge, right? Because it's like anything. The minute you say it's free, they think you're not worth it, right? And if you charge, especially in this kind of, I don't want to say business.
Yeah.
This kind of health alternative healing, then they say, well, if you're trying to help people, why are you charging, right? So it's that whole thing. Mm-hmm. So I was feeling funny charging. So I do right now, my healings are free and I do accept donations. Readings have a fee, and that's on my website.
Okay.
And yeah, I think that's, like, I said it really quickly.
Well, no, I talk fast as well. But like today, as I said, this is just a little get to know you type show. And right. I'm excited we got to connect. Stella Crispo, if you've been listening, she's a pranic energy healer, intuitive psychic reader. We're grateful you're here, and everything that's happened for a reason, right? Like today,
absolutely, your
internet connection, my mouse connection. I think someone has something else in store, but when we come back together, I hope it's next week. I can't wait to talk, because I want to hear about, I've read some of your testimonials about the people that you've helped, people you continue to help. And is there any events coming up that we need to know about?
No, I actually had an open event last night, which I do monthly.
Oh,
and then I'm always available, for private readings, info@heartofgodhealing.com. I am in Northern Jersey, so I do have an office or virtual.
Perfect.
Whatever people.
Well, I can't wait. I hope we're back together again next week. How do we reach out to you if someone does want to contact you in the meantime?
Yes, info@heartofgodhealing.com, heartofgodhealing.com for testimonials. And yeah.
Great. Well, I'm glad we got to know each other today. And I'm looking forward to hearing more of your story, more of your journey. And I love how you just, I don't know, I guess it's your field, but you have great energy and you want to help other people. It's beautiful. And I can't wait to connect and hear more stories. All right. You have a fantastic day. Thank you again. Bye-bye.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.